Faith and fear are really two sides of the same coin. Both require you to believe in something you can't see. But while faith builds, fear destroys. And while faith uplifts, fear holds you back. Fear is really it's actually expensive. It costs you opportunities, relationships, and most importantly, growth. So fear is going to actually make you settle for safe, but nothing great is ever achieved like from staying in your comfort zone, you know?
Welcome to the Share the Wealth Show, where minority professionals can learn to escape the racial wealth gap and catapult themselves into abundance. Your host, Nicole Pendergrass, grew her net worth from being negative to multiple six figures. Join her on her investigative mission to expose secret strategies of the wealthy so we can all have the tools needed to build the life and legacy we were created to possess. Now it's time for the show.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of the Share the Wealth Show. This is the show where we discuss strategies on how to build, grow, and protect minority wealth. And today I'm actually going to come to you with a discussion on overcoming fear and using faith as a mechanism to do that. Because if you think about it, both faith and fear demand you to believe in something that you can't see. You have to choose which you're going to let dictate and kind of run your life, right? So I don't know what your beliefs are, but I feel like it's always good practice to just reflect on faith and just like your belief in anything. But reflecting on the kind of faith that doesn't just get us through the holidays, but carries us forward into the year ahead. So today, I want to talk about why faith should be your default internal setting over fear and how it's the key to unlocking the life that God really created you to live. So, this episode isn't really just about conquering fear, it's about stepping into your God given greatness and trusting that He has planned for you something that's much more abundant than you can even imagine. And trust me, like I know when you're living in the grind and you're just trying to get through the day to day, it's really hard, if not impossible, to see that abundance on the horizon, especially if you have big ambitions, right? Even when you know you're blessed, and you just feel stuck, like everything you've been working toward and been consistently like working for is just not being realized. It's really hard not to feel frustrated and doubt yourself, wondering like if all the work is really even worth it, or maybe you should just pause or even quit. But that doubt is really just fear that you're not good enough and it's manifesting itself. Faith and fear are really two sides of the same coin. Both require you to believe in something you can't see. But while faith builds, fear destroys. And while faith uplifts, fear holds you back. Fear is really it's actually expensive. It costs you opportunities, relationships, and most importantly, growth. So fear is going to actually make you settle for safe, but nothing great is ever achieved like from staying in your comfort zone, you know? So you have to be okay with not feeling safe. Be okay with not ever feeling comfortable because that's the fastest way to stay in mediocrity, right? If you have ambition, if you want to grow, you're going to have to take a little bit of risk. Avoiding risk entirely, like in the name of staying safe, is going to cost you everything. The job you're scared to leave, that like investment that you're too scared to make, the idea that you're scared to share, all of that fear just keeps you stuck. So we really need to reframe what fear is in our minds. Because what if I told you that fear is not actually the enemy? What if you think of it as like your guide? It's actually showing you where your next breakthrough is going to be, right? When you start to feel like resistance and hesitation, that's actually telling you that you're going the right way. God has not given us the spirit of fear. You know what? That takes me back to like my choir days. God has not given us the spirit of fear. Hey, God has not given us the spirit of fear, but He's given unto us the spirit of power, the spirit of love, and of sound mind. Hey, I know y'all know that song. Anyway, if you don't, if you ain't grew up in the church, like that's oh my God, that's a throwback. But anyway, so many people think of fear as like rejection. What we're gonna do now, I have a few steps that I want to share with you. 4 steps for building faith over fear. These are actions that you can take today to help you overcome whatever fear has been really holding you back from making that next move. So, step number 1 is reframing rejection as God's protection. So many people think of fear as like a rejection, but rejection is actually God's protection. That person or opportunity, it really wasn't meant to be part of your journey. So you got to trust that God is like redirecting you to something better. I mean, I really hate to drop like the cliche when one door closes, another one opens, blah blah blah. But it's actually kind of true. But it also only works if you are in motion and didn't just like retreat back to your safe spot, hiding in your comfort zone, right? You got to be taking steps and making motions happen to have those opportunities come across your path. Like you're sitting at home on your couch, being comfortable, doing whatever you normally do, watching shows or whatever, you're going to miss the opportunities, right? Step number 2 is embrace setbacks as setups. Every setback that you face is really a setup from God. Like they weren't really meant to break you. They were meant to strengthen you for the blessings that are coming down the line. You need to reframe difficulties as something that you need to be able to grow your character to match the size of your calling, right? Think about Joseph. If you know anything about the Bible, Joseph in the coat of many colors. In that story, he faced rejection, betrayal, imprisonment, and all of that because before becoming like the ruler and the king. You know, like he went through a lot of stuff, but that was his calling and he needed to go through that in order to be able to handle the the largeness of what he was going to be going through and what God was calling him to do. So, he was actually being called and prepared to handle the weight of his future.
Looking to build wealth with real estate? Are you all tapped out on YouTube University and ready to get help tailored to your specific situation and goals? Have you always known that you are a little different from the crowd, that you never liked following the status quo, and that you're just tired of living in mediocrity? You want to build wealth on your own terms outside of Wall Street? Well, then maybe the Microfamily Mavericks mentorship program can help with that. It's a community where I handhold you through the process of buying your first small commercial multifamily building because not everyone is ready for 100 units out the gate. Why multifamily? Because it gives your rental income a hedge against vacancy. Imagine what happens when your single family rental tenant leaves, right? And why commercial 5+ units? Because you have much more control over increasing the building's value in the commercial space and then in turn increasing your own net worth. Starting small is a stepping stone to so much more because then you can tap that equity and buy another building and another and another, and you get the point. So increasing your cash flow and your ability to be job optional along the way. It's all a part of the journey. So if you think big, but you want to start small, and if you know multifamily real estate is the way for you to open the door to building a life of freedom, abundance, and legacy, but you just need someone to guide you step by step, and you want to be surrounded by other people on the same journey, doing the same thing, then just click the link in the show notes to find out a little bit more about the Microfamily Mavericks, and I look forward to potentially seeing you on the inside. So now back to the show.
I also have some examples from like icons from today. Well, not really today, but more modern day kind of things to really put it into perspective. So let's talk about Elvis Presley. Do you know that he recorded 710 songs, but only 40 became worldwide hits? 40. 40 seems like a lot. He recorded 700 songs. It's crazy. Picasso created 1,885 works of art, but only 30 are famous, right? Thomas Edison, he patented 1,093 inventions, but only the light bulb is actually really well widely known from him. But these are all those three examples are success rates of like 5% and less if you think about how much work these people put out. But then we want to get all tight and want to quit after the first thing we try doesn't work, right? Imagine if these geniuses had been afraid of rejection, afraid of trying again, or afraid of like what people would say or do about their failures, or if they even decided to quit altogether, right? Step number 3 is to stop shrinking and start shining. Sometimes we think rejection is about us and it means that we're not enough. But the truth is, rejection and persistence are a part of the journey. Like, it's for anyone who's ever left any kind of legacy. It's not about avoiding failure, it's about trusting God enough to keep going even when things don't go as planned. So, like, your goals are not achieved with a single attempt. None of the people that I mentioned before tried once. They kept going because they had a strong belief and faith in what they were doing. Like, you're going to have a lot of no's and there's going to be a lot of difficult days, but you have to trust that it's worth persisting. And we end up wasting so much of our lives hiding our uniqueness because we're afraid of what other people are going to think. But this is the truth. Your uniqueness is actually your superpower. And being underestimated is actually a secret weapon because then they never see you coming. They don't even know that what you're working on and that you're about to pop out like you are, right? The Bible even says that we're fearfully and wonderfully made. So you were designed to stand out, not to shrink back. And that's why we need to have faith over fear, because faith is what allows us to persist despite the odds, like trusting that God's timing and plan are greater than what we can even understand, you know? Step number 4 is to act with faith, not with perfection. That is also very, very hard. Faith is not about having it all figured out, right? It's not that like, oh, you know everything that you have to do, so now I can have the faith to go. That's not faith. Like, faith is doing it when it's unknown and you don't know what the next step is. Like, it's about taking that next step, even when you can't see the whole path. It's trusting that God's going to guide those steps and that things are going to work out the way they're supposed to. So you can't let fear stop you from starting. Progress, not perfection, is what moves the needle. You have to think about it. Procrastination is actually just fear disguised as perfection. It's what we tell ourselves to just feel good about our lack of progress, that things need to be perfect before you can put it out to the world or step forward or do whatever, right? But I get it. Like, I understand. Like, I've been there and I still fight with myself a lot, doing a lot of little tiny constant tweaking to make it just like a little bit better. Maybe this could be the title, maybe that could be the thumbnail, or maybe I should add this line here in my training or my mentorship, or maybe I should do this. Like, so it's always like trying to improve and make it better, which is fine. You can put out the best product that you can. You don't want to just do crap work, but at the same time, you don't want that perfection to prevent you from putting out version 1 of whatever you're doing. Version 1 of your project is better than version none. Version none gets you nowhere and it doesn't move the needle and it doesn't help you get to the next level and take that first step, right? The hardest part of entrepreneurship and life really actually is the uncertainty. It's the fear that all your sacrifices, all your hard work is going to be for nothing. It's like you're giving up everything now for the possibility of nothing later. And that thought, that can paralyze you. That is very fearful, right?
Are you enjoying this episode? Then stop what you're doing right now. Head over to Apple Podcasts and leave us a rating and review. It really helps our show get pushed to more people who are looking for the information that we're sharing here. We have to share the wealth. If you listen to us on YouTube, make sure you like the episode that you're listening to right now and subscribe to our channel. Then share the channel with somebody else. There are people out there looking for the information you're listening to right now. So make sure you share it with someone who you know needs it. Now, back to the show.
But here's the thing, when you pause for a moment and remember the life you walked away from to pursue this dream, then you're actually going to realize there's no going back. You don't want to even be there anymore. You know too much now. You've tasted what it means to fight for your something that's bigger than yourself. And because of that, you keep going. Like everything you wanted and everything you've ever wanted is on the other side of rejection, of uncertainty, and yes, even of suffering. Success doesn't come in a day, a month, or even a year. It may take 10 years or more of persistence. And that's nerve-wracking. Like I said, this uncertainty thing, it's not for the weak, but it all comes down to wanting what you're chasing more than you hate all the things you have to go through and endure to get it. You get that? Like you need to want it so much that all the obstacles that you have to jump over, all the struggles that you're going to face, all of those things are nothing. Like you can overcome those easily because they're nothing. And you would rather deal with that than go through life in your comfort zone with the possibility that you're never going to achieve because you're too scared of going through these obstacles in life, right? You need to want that thing more than you hate what you have to go through to get the thing, right? So you get it? All right. I won't keep belaboring that point, but like, despite all the hard stuff that you're going through now, despite the setbacks, the doubts, the frustrations, you really got to hold on to faith with every ounce of your being. Like, you're going to make it. You're going to get there. You've got to believe that this is going to work. The effort, the pain is not for nothing. God doesn't waste nothing. He don't waste anything at all. And if you trust him, he's not going to let you waste your potential either. Remember, you were not created to play small, right? I know God wants us also to be good stewards of our resources, but I don't believe he wants us to play it safe. I don't believe that's what that means. It just means that we have to trust him and take action. So there's some risk that you're going to have to do. Some risk is necessary to push you out of your comfort zone and get you into your genius zone, but you can't get to your genius zone in your comfort zone because that's not how comfort zones work. Comfort zones are designed to keep you safe and keep you cozy and keep you like wrapped up and still keep you like protected. That's what it thinks that it's doing. And that's what our mind thinks that is doing by keeping us safe and comfortable. But that's not helping us grow. Like your muscles don't grow if you don't work them out. I hate to use that analogy, but it's very appropriate here anyway. I want to leave you with a challenge today, right? I want you to choose faith over fear. So, what's one thing that you've been putting off doing because fear was holding you back, right? Your assignment is to journal about that fear and how you can reframe it with faith. So, just remember too that the same God who placed a vision in your heart also gave you the ability to achieve it. So, like, don't let fear stop you from being the person that He created you to be. This is Christmas, and just give yourself a gift of faith, right? And watch it transform your life. So, however, you need to pick the biggest fear that you have, the biggest goal that you've had a fear, like uncover what that fear is keeping you from taking the first step to achieve that goal, right? journal about that, and now reframe that fear into something that helps you encompass it and think about it in a different way that gives you the strength to be able to move forward, right? Second Corinthians 5:7 says, like, we walk by faith, not by sight. So let this be your guide. Like, step boldly into the year ahead. Next year is waiting for you, and you need to lay the foundation right now. This is a great time to do it. So I'm going to say a quick prayer for you because I really want you to overcome this fear, and having not blind faith, but really having a substantial faith is how I even personally am able to keep pushing forward. It's because I have faith. And that entrepreneur kind of, we don't know if all our sacrifices today are going to turn into something in the future. That's a really big fear, right? I feel that all the time, right? I am scared of that, but I'm not scared enough to not keep moving forward, right? I have that tiny thing like, what if all the work that I'm doing is not going to come into fruition or not to turn into anything? What if I'm just not good enough of a business person to be able to handle these things? And maybe I'm doing it all wrong. And that's why it's taking a long time, you know? That's all in your mind, and that's the fear trying to hold you back and put you back into that comfort zone. But I hate mediocrity so much, and the vision of my future and of me having a mediocre life for the rest of my life is so appalling to me. And I don't know if appalling is the right word, but in any case, it's such a thing that's like, I don't want that. That I will continue to push forward, because having a mediocre life, and not just for me, for my kids, for my husband, for my family, for everyone like around me, I want to impact other people's lives as well. So I can't stay small and I can't quit in order for that to come true, right? But all of my movements, even when things are difficult, my movement and my going forward, even if I fall off the horse, I get back up, and I not immediately all the time either. Sometimes it takes me a little while. Maybe sometimes I'm up, sometimes I'm down a couple of times in the same week or in the same day. But I continue to show up because I have unwavering faith, right? I have unwavering faith and belief, and I think it's very strong, and that's what's helped me. So I wanted to share that with you guys in case your fear is debilitating to you and it doesn't let you move forward or take that next step, or if you think you're about to quit for whatever reason, hang in there. It's coming. It does take a while to make the type of impact that we were created to make. It takes a while to get there. It's not going to happen overnight. All right. So, Lord Father God, I come humbly before you, just praying for anyone listening to me and to this message right now. I pray that you enter their minds and spirits and give them the clarity and courage to overcome beliefs, procrastination, comfort zones, feelings of not being enough, and any other fears that are masking themselves as safety, by preventing them from realizing the full abundance that you have created for them to possess. I pray you help them see fear for what it is, an opportunity to grow and to trust you with the next steps in their journey. And when they start stepping into that full potential, I also pray that you help them remember the little people, namely the one who spoke this word of life into them during this podcast episode today. Amen. Okay, so thank you. Thank you so much for hanging in there and joining me for this Christmas episode today. Don't forget the challenge assignment that I left with you for journaling and reframing a fear that's been holding you back, or even uncovering what that fear is. If there's like a goal that you have and you haven't taken that first step, maybe you need to uncover what fear is holding you back from taking that first step. So, in any case, have a Merry Christmas, and let's get ready to kick 2025's butt. All right, I'll see you in the next episode.
Did you love this episode of Share the Wealth Show? Be sure to connect with Nicole by following her on LinkedIn, Instagram, or Facebook. If you picked up any of the gems that were dropped by today's guest, make sure you not only put them in your bag, but if you know of someone who would benefit from this information, don't keep it to yourself. Share the wealth and make sure to leave us a rating and review. We'll see you for next week's episode. Subscribe so you'll be notified.